Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Laces Out podcast. Myself and Paul are here, we're talking what happened in week 13 of the NFL season, and we are looking forward to week 14. Predictions, reviews, previews, stats, news. I mean, to say that we managed to get it all into one podcast, I mean, it's amazing. I'm not going to lie, it's amazing. It's a lot of information and it's all right here. So strap in for that. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Share it with your friends, people. Share it with your family. Share it around. Say, hey, NFL fan, take this podcast. You will love it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast. Laces Out.
Well, it's that time of the week, and it can only mean one thing. It is, in fact, the Laces Out podcast from us here at the CookieCast Network. We are talking American football, which might seem strange, but hey, why not? I am not on my own, for you listeners. I'm joined by my glamorous co-host, Mr. Paul Williams. Good evening to you, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling the depression setting in of that time of year. And no, I don't mean December. And no, I don't mean the C word. I mean it's getting to the end of the season. Yes, playoff football is just a little bit spicier than regular season football, but you can see it coming over the hill, and I don't like it. I would ask you how you are, but I imagine it's kind of nice being back on top after this week's games. And not just a little bit. You went from not being there to being well and truly on top. I was like, wow, that's a power move right there. Obviously, it shifted the playoff bracket somewhat into what some would say less than favourable outcome. But we won't dwell on that just yet, because
I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know how I've managed to pull it off, because obviously, going into the weekend, I was looking a little behind the eight ball, so to speak, with my Amon-Ra St. Brown with his 0 receptions for 0 yards, having been rolled up on in I believe one of the first couple of plays on Thanksgiving Thursday.
It certainly was.
So yeah, I didn't have a great start to the week, but what can I say? The fact that my highest scoring player was my kicker probably tells you all that you need to know.
Did you have the Giants kicker?
I had Jason Myers, number 1 kicker in fantasy, no less.
Not Young then.
No, sadly, Koo. Do you think it's possible to find yourself cut from 2 teams
in the same season? I think it's possible for him to do that. I think the phrase "the worst kick in NFL history," because let's face it, there was no kick for a start, but the worst kick in NFL history is not necessarily the title you want as an NFL kicker. I saw a clip earlier of the Manning show where Eli and Peyton have a special guest. The special guest being Danny DeVito, which was just, and all 3 of them going, I've never seen that. I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. And I was like, yeah, nobody's ever seen that one before. So yeah, get that one on your highlight reel. Yikes. We are reviewing Thanksgiving week football. We will look at the fact that games were played more heavily at the start of the week. Start of the week being Thursday, Thanksgiving. Made for interesting televisual viewing on the Sunday, where you're like, I guess we've only got this one game to show on Red Zone because, nobody else is playing right now, etc. And then we will look forward, we'll project forward into week 14 and talk about what games we've got to come and what feels to me like a late buy. If you're in fantasy at this point in time, if you play fantasy football at this point in time, and you look at your team and you go, "What the skippity doodah is going on here? I'm trying to win my league, and you're taking half of my players away." What WTF kind of situation? But yeah, what will be will be. We've got stats, predictions, side bet, etc. All of that to go through. But the only way we can get there is by looking back. Pretty sure there's a song in there. At last week and seeing what happened in our respective picks. We've got picks for the week, side bet, and the bankers and outsiders to go through. So, Mr. Williams, take it away with what happened last week and how badly I got beaten.
Well, I don't think it was physically possible for us to have had a worse start to the week. Obviously, there was no teams on bye as it was Thanksgiving week, so all 16 games, which meant all 32 teams, were in action. And between us, we both managed to unsuccessfully select each one of all 3 Thanksgiving games. We incorrectly predicted the Black Friday game and technically the first of the 6 p.m. Sunday games.
Okay.
So, just to clarify, for anyone who's keeping score there, that means that we got the Lions to beat the Packers, wrong. The Chiefs to beat the Cowboys, wrong. The Ravens to beat the Bengals, wrong. The Eagles to beat the Bears, wrong. And the most surprising of the entire lot is the fact that we had the Rams to beat the Panthers. That you would have got, I would say incredible odds on that. I think it would literally be a case of you could just name your price with the bookies for that one. So five games in, we found ourselves on 0 points. So we needed a big second half, shall we say, to get in any way, shape, or form needs be. However, if I was to say to you that one of us got 9 of the remaining 11 games correct, and still didn't win the week because the other one of us got all 11 remaining games correct, you'll have to pick the bones out of this, ladies and gentlemen, because the 2 games that let one of us down were the Colts not beating the Texans and the Falcons not beating the New York Jets. Now, for those of you watching on YouTube, and even for those of you who might be listening to the podcast, you may have heard a small sigh of resignation there.
Because I know
And,
the way
the
that I would pick those games. I know exactly the way I would pick those games, and that tells me everything I need to know. So that's great. Cool.
So yes, unfortunately, Mr. Cook was the unfortunate recipient of those 9 of 16 selections, which, when you consider we both got the first 5 incorrect, I think is hella sledding. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I just hit a bit of a run and was thankful that the Texans did beat the Colts and that the Jets did indeed beat the Falcons. I'm probably more happy that the Jets beat the Falcons than all Jets fans, as they're steadily ruining their new quarterback of the next generation potentially by winning these games. So yes, 11 points to myself, 9 points to Mr. Cook, which gives me the win for the week. That moves me on to 8.5 points for the season. Andy remains on 4.5 points for the season. So I am pulling slightly further ahead in the standings. On the overall scores, we were up to 194 games predicted so far. Andy has predicted 129 of those correct. I have predicted 134 of them correct. So again, a little bit of a gap created there. Side bet wise, Andy started off well. He selected the Jaguars to beat the Titans. That's one correct point. The Broncos to beat the Commanders. Got a little bit lucky with that one, not going to lie. Had a 2-point conversion gone the correct way for Washington, we will be sitting in a very different space. He also had the Seahawks to beat the Vikings. If that's not covered in the stats, I will eat my own hat. And I'm not even wearing a hat.
It is covered in the stats.
So we'll get to that later on. Don't worry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Sadly, however, Mr. Cook did not get a 4-peat, a clean sweep, as, unfortunately for him, the Kansas City Chiefs were unable to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. So just 3 points out of a possible 4 for Mr. Cook. That moves him to 35 points from a possible 52. And I started off in a much similar vein. I had the Chargers to beat the Raiders, the Patriots to beat the Giants, the 49ers to beat the Browns. Most depressingly of all, the one that I didn't get correct was the Rams losing to the Panthers.
No.
So I think there's been precedent set in the past where we've said that if you get a pick, such as the football podcast, for those of you unaware, we also run a football podcast, English football, as it were, soccer ball, and we do predictions on that every week. Now, if we are getting the prediction bang on, so to speak, we get extra points. However, we have also had a precedent for if you get something so spectacularly badly, it's been argued that sometimes you deserve to get negative points. And I would argue on myself here that potentially the Rams losing to the Panthers is worthy of me getting a negative point for this particular one and not just getting no points for that particular pick. But I haven't done that to myself. I've just remained with just the 3 points from the side bet for myself as well. So that leaves me on to 41 points from a possible 52. Keeps the gap at 6. So, like we say, there's still 5 weeks of regular season games to play, and we carry the side bet into the postseason. So plenty of chances for Mr. Cook to bring that one back. Not to worry there. The only thing that's left to do from week 13, other than the stats, is to discuss whether or not we're sitting on a little bit of cash from our side, not our side, but from our bankers and outsiders predictions. Now, when I log into my bank, when I log into my betting account, this will look slightly different because I did have a win, just not on the American football. It was a football bet that I won on there. Yeah, had a bet, an 8-fold accumulator on more than 2.5 goals in the game, and it hit with about 5 minutes to spare in the games. So I was sitting pretty with time to spare on that one. So last week's bankers and outsiders were as follows. I had picked the Dolphins to beat the New Orleans Saints as my banker, and my outsider was the Houston Texans to beat the Indianapolis Colts. Now the Dolphins I got at 1-3, and the Texans I got at 7-4. Andy's banker was the Broncos to beat the Washington Commanders, which he got at 1-4. Sadly, his outsider was the Tennessee Titans to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, which he got at 3-1. So we are getting closer, ladies and gentlemen. I do feel that an outsiders and bankers bet is coming in the near future. Just not this week, I'm afraid.
Mm.
So yet another week goes where we have not had our coffers swelled by the goings on of the National Football League, sadly. So that just means we'll have to go back over to Mr. Cook to start us off with some stats-based nonsense for week 13 in the NFL. Back over to you, sir.
Oh, apparently my device did not want to keep hold of those stats. And
No.
yeah, they've gone. That's great. Thanks for that phone.
And it's gone.
However, a small look around, and there they are. These are Week 13 NFL stats for the 2025 season. Credit to Nate Davis of USA Today, but bigger credit the stats mistress. She was on the bobby today, got them knocked out nice and early, and brought us, funnily enough, the same number of stats as the week it is. Just remind me which stat we were looking for, because it might be Minnesota Vikings scored 0 points on Sunday with third-string rookie quarterback Matt Brosmer. Can you imagine what his life was like at college with the name Brosmer? Brosmer! In a 26-0 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. And think the Vikings probably should have had Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, or Seattle's Sam Darnold as an insurance policy or primary policy while trying to bring now injured JJ McCarthy along. I will pause the stats if you would like to offer up your stat on this game around Minnesota quarterbacks.
As in the fact that he threw 4 INTs.
Well, it was
you.
rating.
Yes, I do now understand. Yes, just bear with me. I will just retrieve it from our group chat this morning. Just skip past the fact that the Giants' defensive end had to miss the opening snap of the game as he was watching pornography in a team meeting. We'll just skip past that.
Yes, I'm sure he would.
So, Vikings quarterback in week 12, passer rating, JJ McCarthy, 34.2. Vikings quarterback in week 13, Max Brosmer, quarterback rating, 32.8. Quarterback rating, if you were to spike the ball on every single play, 39.6. So literally, for the last 2 weeks, the Vikings could have taken negative yards on every single play, and their quarterbacks would have performed better. Baffling. Absolutely baffling.
Start number 2. For the first time this season, the Indianapolis Colts failed to score 20 points in Sunday's 2016 loss to the Houston Texans and their top-ranked defense. I not necessarily cursed you on the weekend, but I did say, damn it. I think Paul was right. I think the Colts have been exposed as a flash in the pan because it's not looking as good. I've also been enjoying the Broncos are a fraud call outs because I was saying to somebody the other day, I was like, are we actually going to see the Broncos in the Super Bowl at the rate they're going? Because the fact that they just seemed, and it's the worst kinds of wins as well. It's like, oh, we squeaked through here, we squeaked through there, we squeaked. It's like, why don't you try winning a game? Just win it, or not. Anyway. Number 3, 2 teams fell out of first place Sunday: the Pittsburgh Steelers and Colts, both slipping down the AFC food chain. Pittsburgh all the way to 9th place in the conference, though the Steelers can reclaim first place by beating the Baltimore Ravens in Week 14. The Colts had a softer landing as the AFC's second projected wildcard, but they also appear to be in the midst of a free fall, as we were just alluding to. Number 4, it's also that time of the year. 4 teams were officially eliminated from playoff contention Sunday: the Arizona Cardinals, New Orleans Saints, Las Vegas Raiders, and the Titans. I am surprised the Titans made it this far. I felt they should have been the first one to go, but they weren't, even though they had a worse record.
It was weird that the Giants had one more win than them, yet were eliminated from the postseason before they were.
Yeah, it just didn't really make a lot of sense. I know that how the NFL works and their number system is obscure, but if you've got one more win, to go out first seems odd. Number 5, thinking back to the summer, did your bingo card have the Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars tied at 8-4 atop the AFC South and set to play the premier game on AFC schedule in Week 14? Though it sure appears Houston, one game back, remains the class of a division that typically can't generate a scintilla of attention. Remind me to speak to the stats mistress and just remind her that I read at a 4-year-old level. So maybe dialing down those word of the day toilet paper words. 6, and final stat for me, 6 teams are in first place, or have a share of it, yet didn't win their respective divisions in 2024. Patriots, Colts, Jags, Broncos, Bears, and Seattle, which is tied with the Rams atop the NFC West. Before I hand over to you, which I will do shortly, I will just say a couple of things I've seen today. One, they both mentioned a particular team. One was a meme showing Patrick Mahomes with his head down, looking all dejected, and it said about where did this bring you, and then it cut to a picture of Thanos but his face was obscured by a particular team's logo with the caption, "It brought you right back to me." And then it went. The other thing was a lot of details about the fact that we all boo hissed the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Patriots have got, is it 7 draft picks in the first few rounds of next year's draft, and have the biggest cap space of any team. And at this point in time, they already look like a contender. So, shit, we're back in this situation again, aren't we?
Yeah. One thing I did quite enjoy was that a podcast I listened to was talking about that he's a Jets fan. And he was talking about the fact that it's nice to see those Patriots fans that have had to suffer through all those those dark times for the last 3 years. Obviously,
just long enough for us to forget. It was just long enough for us to go, "Oh, I wish the Kansas City Chiefs would piss off." And even now, especially for me, I'm like, can the Eagles do one? I'm bored of them already. And then the Patriots pop back up, and you're like, oh shit, we forgot about them. They were the worst. So yes, although I find myself rooting for the Patriots a lot these days, mostly to do away with other teams. I'm like, let's not return to those dark days. Anyway, over to you for some delicious stats.
Yes, indeed. So my first stat: the Rams entered Sunday allowing a league low 16.3 points per game. The Carolina Panthers 31 on them, snapping LA's 6-game winning streak and knocking them out of first place in the NFC. Those plucky Bears, now with the inside track to home field advantage and a first-round playoff bye. I bet loads of people had that on their bingo card, didn't they?
Oh,
Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa and the Las Vegas Raiders' Geno Smith are now tied for the most interceptions thrown this season in the league at 14, which seems low, really. When we're at week 14,
yeah,
or about to go into week 14, there's only been 14 interceptions. So Jameis Winston looks like and just pisses his pants. God, I could throw 14 in one game if I wanted to.
Yeah, I could break some records.
Although, to be fair, 14 does mean that old Brosma only needs to play, another 3 games and he'll overtake him on his path.
My beer.
Cleveland Browns defensive end Myles Garrett, some would say a one-man team, has racked up 19 sacks this season, including 1 in Sunday's loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Surprisingly, Garrett has never had a 20-sack campaign, but if he gets one in each of his next 5 games, he'll easily surpass the league's single-season record of 22.5, which is shared by TJ Watt and Hall of Famer Michael Strahan. I did see something earlier actually that said that on his like wrist tape or when he wraps his hands and stuff like that in game preparation, he writes the number 25 on his wrist tape. So obviously that's the number that he's aiming for the sacks for the season. So I think the Browns might have a fairly dear Lord. I've just seen who they've got in week 14. Welcome to that. Josh Allen maybe didn't get a whole lot of opposition in the 26-7 knockout of the Steelers on Sunday, but kudos to him for setting the NFL record for most career rushing touchdowns, 76, by a quarterback. Allen now has 6 consecutive seasons of generating at least 30 combined passing and rushing touchdowns, and only Hall of Fame semi-finalist Drew Brees, 9 seasons, 2008 to 2016, has a longer run in league annals. I believe I don't know if I saw it for definite, but I thought I saw a little flicker of a smile from Mr. Cook there, because I can only presume that he's overtaken a certain Cam Newton as the quarterback with the most rushing touchdowns for all time. He'll never have his fashion sense though, will he? So can't win them all. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey remains on track to be the first player ever with 2 seasons recording 1,000 rushing and receiving yards. On Sunday, he joined Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk as the only player with 3 seasons of both 800 yards rushing and receiving. New York Jets veteran Nick Folk had made all 35 of his kicks, 20 field goals and 15 points after entering Sunday before missing in Gotham's less than ideal weather conditions. But no matter, his 56-yard field goal at the gun lifted the New York Jets past the Falcons for their 3rd win of the season. And finally for me, and how about Tyrod Taylor helping to lead the Jets to that victory? In the process, he became the 6th quarterback since 2000 to win a game for 6 different organizations. Joining a list that includes, can Andy name any of them? He should potentially be able to, as he did send me these stats. So,
the only
yes.
one that only ever stands out is Fitzmagic.
That includes Ryan Fitzpatrick, ex-Jet, Matt Castle, Case Keenum, Josh McCown, ex-Jet, and Joe Flacco, another ex-Jet. Case
Keenum, the player with the most yards in college history. That's Case Keenum.
So there you have it. Brings us to the end of the stats for this week.
Obviously, we will be moving over to talk about week 14. I have looked at our countdown and just wondered, maybe, just maybe, we've got just time for Paul, can you tell me who is the only commentator to call a Super Bowl on all 4 major networks?
Al Michaels.
He has a football game named after him.
Uncle John.
Indeed, John Madden. What is the smallest NFL stadium by capacity?
I believe that might be Soldier Field.
Correct answer. And can you get what is the only NFL team that has never had a game end in a tie?
I would presume it's potentially one of the newer teams, so I'll guess the Texans.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
That was going to be my other guess.
A bonus one for you. Which nickname do Steelers fans use to refer to a certain legendary touchdown that occurred during the 1972 playoffs?
Is that one the Immaculate Reception?
It is. Well done. There you go. Just goes to show it's not just the round football that Paul knows pretty much everything about. It is indeed the egg-shaped one as well. So when we come back, we will be talking week 14. My word. We'll bring some predictions your way, side bets, bankers and outsiders, and everything you could possibly want to know about week 14. You won't need to do anything because we will literally just appear back here with slightly more refreshed drinks. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Well, I mean, it was literally a second. I got a drink, not that much. And we are back. I know. So, week 13, we've got a bow on it. we didn't wrap it for Christmas. We just put a bow on it and slid it over onto the shelf with the other 12 weeks that have passed so far. And now we cast our eye to week 14. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a bye this week. And I'm not sour. I'm not annoyed. I'm not looking to try and win a fantasy season, and 4 of my players are on bye this week. No. Oh, did I mention that I'm going up against the number 1 in our fantasy league this week? Great week for a bye. Great week for a load of players to be out. Big fan. Happy to have it. Definitely losing this week. So with that in mind, let's look at who else is going to be losing this week in the games, the weeks, the predictions, the lot.
So, week 14. Week 14. Those 4 buys just so happen to be the last 4 buys of the season. Now, if anyone's been taking notes or a tally of the teams that are on bye so far this season, you probably already know which 4 teams are left to have their bye. But for those of you who might not have been taking a tally, I've got them written down here. So, the 4 teams left to hit their bye are the Carolina Panthers, the New England Patriots, the New York Giants, and the San Francisco 49ers. So they will not play this weekend, but the remaining teams will. So we start off with the Thursday Night Football, which sees the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Detroit Lions. We have both agreed that we think it will be a Detroit Lions win. We move to the Sunday slate of games where we have, in the 6 p.m. slot, the Seattle Seahawks travelling to take on the Atlanta Falcons. Surprise, surprise, we both think the Seattle Seahawks will get the win. We have a divisional matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, and it brings with it, ladies and gentlemen, our first difference of opinion of the week. I am very much of the standpoint that the AFC North is this season's just throw it in the bin division. They're all as bad as each other.
Absolutely.
The Steelers can't get any form. The Ravens can't get any form. Lamar Jackson appears to not even be able to stay healthy for the majority of the time. However, as they are at home, Andy has gone with the Ravens to get the win. I'm not convinced. I think that because they're performing a bit of a subpar level, I think that the Steelers will have the bit between their teeth and will attempt, successfully, no less, to go and win in Baltimore. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Cleveland Browns, and this is what I was pissing myself at when we went through that Myles Garrett stat slightly earlier on, because obviously he's already at 19 for the season. The career sack total at 22.5 for the season looks like it's under threat just in this game, I would say. I don't know how many times it is that Cam Ward has been sacked already this season, but I would hazard a guess that it's probably in a fairly high number. So, Myles Garrett only needs 3.5 to tie, or 4 to set a new record. Watch your space. But surprise, surprise, we both have gone for the Cleveland Browns to get the win. Next up, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's our next and final difference of opinion game. I've gone with the Jags. Andy has gone with the Colts. We have the Washington Commanders at the Minnesota Vikings. Given their performance against the Denver Broncos on the Sunday Night Football, myself and Mr. Cook have both gone with the Commanders. Can only hope that Mr. Brosmer is throwing interceptions left, right, and centre once again. We've got another divisional matchup where we see the Dolphins take on the New York Jets. We've both gone with the Dolphins, and I believe if the Dolphins win this, they will go to 6-6. No, because that would mean that they've had 2 byes. 7-6, 6-7. Let me have a look. Have a look at the old NFL standings. The Miami Dolphins are at 5-7, so they'll be at 6-7, and they'll only be 1 or 2 games potentially out of a wild card berth. So, not the Dolphins are not dead at this point. They're just up against it. We have another divisional matchup where we see the Saints at the Buccaneers. We've both backed the Buccaneers because why wouldn't we? And then the final slate on the 6 p.m. games sees the Cincinnati Bengals travelling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Even though Joe Burrow is back, we have both gone with the Buffalo Bills to get the win in that one. That's the 6 p.m. games sorted. At the 9 p.m. and 9:05 and 9:25 games sees the Denver Broncos taking on the Las Vegas Raiders in another divisional matchup. Must be divisional week divisional week in the NFL. We've both gone with the Broncos in that one. Another divisional matchup sees the Bears taking on the Packers in Green Bay. We've both gone with the Packers. Another divisional matchup sees the Rams taking on the Cardinals in Arizona. We've both gone with the Rams. We have a Texans-Chiefs Sunday night showdown in Kansas City, and we've both backed the Chiefs to bounce back from their disappointment against Dallas. And the Monday Night Football sees the Philadelphia Eagles travelling across the country to take on the Los Angeles Chargers at SoFi Stadium. Now, originally I was going to write down the Chargers for this one, and then I remembered that you can never trust the Chargers, and Justin Herbert is currently listed as questionable for the game.
He took a horrible knock onto his bottom. It was a proper ooh.
I had it down that apparently he suffered an injury to his non-throwing hand, very much similar to what I believe happened to Aaron Rodgers a couple of weeks back. So I think at this point they don't expect him to miss the game, but he is obviously still listed as questionable. So I think if Herbert starts, I'd maybe feel a bit better about backing the Chargers. But because I'm not entirely sure, I will hedge my bets and just go with the Eagles, which you have also done, I hasten to add. So, 14 predictions apiece. We'd best do some side bet picking. So, as we said, Mr. Cook comes into this 6 points in deficit, 35 from a possible 52. I on 41 from a possible 52. Would you like the first selection, or would you like me to go first so you can have 2 picks straight after?
I'm not going to lie, when I was doing general picks earlier today, this week does not thrill me with the idea that we have to get 8 games out of these games. I think early in the picking process, sure, great. After that, yeah, don't like our chances, I'm afraid. However, I will go first, and as I like to throw caution to the wind and pick a completely baffling, random as shit first pick, I will say the Denver Broncos, after everything I said about them, to beat the 2-10, nothing to play for Las Vegas Raiders. I will caveat that with the number of times a 2-10, nothing to play for team has absolutely fucked my pick. I don't have the brain capacity to count that high. So, you heard it here first, ladies and gents. I'm going with it. Definitely expected it to absolutely screw me over. That was my favorite pick of the week, but there we go. Over to you to pick through the delight that we have this week. Like I say, 8 games to pick.
Yeah, I too can see this getting to a point where we're taking some pretty dicey flavours on the old side bet. Yeah, the Broncos are annoying because I think they actually flashed up a stat on one of their games where it was like last season in 1-score games there was something ridiculous like 2-8, and this season they're already 6-1 or something like that. So they've obviously just flipped completely from last season.
Yeah, if you look at the graphic of their games, like the way they've gone about winning their games is ridiculous. The number of games that have come down to the last play and they've won it. And you're like, if that had gone any other way, that'd be it. It'd be a different record. I expect they're going to have a monumental fall from grace because although they're 2-10, it's hard to sort of put into words, but it's like they're not a 2-10 team. They're a team who has fluked their way to a 10-2 record. Sorry, what I meant, even though it feels like a 2-10 situation. They're gonna fuck me at some point. They're gonna do a Chargers on me at some point. It's probably this week because, like I say, the Raiders have got absolutely zero to play for. So you can guarantee they're going to come out firing on all cylinders and absolutely be the team that takes down the Broncos. So anyway,
I'm going to put it out there. I think the Broncos need to lose a game.
I agree. But I feel it's going to be like playoff football where they, where basically a lose and you're done situation. And then just be like, there you go. The Broncos are gone now. Let's move on with real football.
Yeah, it's just weird, isn't it? Because obviously, like, I think I said it about the Eagles. I think I said, like, in fact, I believe what I said on the podcast a couple of weeks ago was the Eagles will lose another game this season. We just weren't entirely sure where that loss was going to come.
Yeah.
And then obviously they went on and lost against the Bears. They might have even lost the week before as well. So I think I probably cursed them to have a couple of losses. But I think when I said it, I was like, it's one of those situations where they need to lose to sort of almost refocus them. if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like I said, there's nothing about this situation I like. I don't like a 10-2 team that have squeaked every game.
I said this to a Broncos fan. I was like, just go out and like, just beat a team. Like, just like, hang 4 or 5 touchdowns on them. Keep them to 1 score, and then let's talk about you going deep in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but I think it's a solid pick though, and it's absolutely 100% where I'd have been going if I had the first pick. Sorry about that. I got us a little bit sidetracked there. With my first pick, where's it gone? There they are. I will go with the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Atlanta Falcons, and I will immediately follow that up with the Los Angeles Rams to beat the Arizona Cardinals. I know that's divisional, so can produce silly things, but of the games, it's the one where you'd probably feel the most confident backing one of the particular teams. So I'll pass over to you for your next 2.
I had thought you would maybe pick this one up, just because of a similar situation to what we were talking about. Well, I would say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to, let's face it, destroy the 2-10 New Orleans Saints. Again, nothing to play for, so they're absolutely going to come out and decimate the Bucs. But on paper, there is really no question there. I don't like what I'm about to say, but for a lot of reasons, it probably makes a lot of sense. For a couple of reasons, I would take the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Los Angeles Chargers. Although they have the same record, this is yet again another opportunity for the Chargers to fuck me, because I've picked against them this time. So they're absolutely going to come out and be like, the Eagles, they're not doing too well at the moment, and we've got the same record. So we've listened to a podcast and heard a guy who absolutely loves us fucking him week in, week out. So, we're going to go and destroy the Eagles. So, there's that. Good luck for some more picks, because my word, we might have had the best of a bad bunch, I'm afraid.
Yeah, the well's looking a bit dry at this point. Right, I can't believe I'm doing it, but I'll take the Browns to beat the Titans.
Yeah, funnily enough, that was on my screen as you said it, because I was like,
Mainly, the main reason I'm taking that one is because I think that Myles Garrett could potentially just shut the offense down on his own.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I'd be backing that one. Because they're at home, I'll go with the Bills to beat the Bengals.
You see,
don't particularly like it, because obviously Joe Burrow being back is potentially dangerous. But we'll see.
I wanted the Bills to be in a better position. I really wanted the Bills to be in a better position. I would like to see the Bills at 10-2 at this point. I needed more from them. Their last game, great, wonderful, good stuff, good win, lovely, fantastic. Not where I want them to be going into the playoffs. They need this win. 9-4 looks a lot better in playoff football. I'm worried and I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. I'm pretty sure I did the whole "it's the Bills" year, and for a long time I definitely thought it was. As I keep saying about a couple of teams at the moment, they are starting to look like their old selves. And I am absolutely not just delaying my final pick. You've taken that already, so that's not an option. You've taken that one. I ain't touching that with anybody's. That will stay where it is. And oh my word, can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins to beat the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Because, and here's how this works out. Let's go play by play, shall we? Do you want to take the Detroit Lions to beat the Dallas Cowboys? No, sir. No, sir, you don't. The other two games have gone. Washington Commanders 3-9 versus the Minnesota Vikings 4-8. The Vikings can't put anything together at the moment, but do we think the Commanders are going to get it done? Probably. Going to bet your house on it? No. Should we go with 8-4 Colts versus 8-4 Jaguars? Who knows what the Jaguars are up to at the moment? Winning games, apparently. Are the Colts going to bounce back? Who knows? Should we talk 6-6 Steelers versus 6-6 Ravens, or should we leave that one where it is? And so on and so on. Let's get on the 9-3 Bears versus the 8-3-1 Packers. No, I don't want to take any of these games. 6-6 Chiefs, 7-5 Texans. No, thank you. So I am betting my last dollar on what I can't believe is the Miami Dolphins to beat what, let's face it, is absolutely going to be the week that the Jets are like, yeah, go on, let's have another one. Let's get another win. Come on, let's do it. It's hilarious. Let's do it. Come on. Just for funsies. And the Dolphins are like, what are we doing right now? Oh, it's football. Cool. we do that sometimes. But yes, as I said, I did not like our chances of picking 8 games this week, and I think we have proven that it was a little more difficult than initially thought.
Tough sledding, to say the least. So, to clarify, the teams taken in the side bet are as follows. Andy has the Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home to the New Orleans Saints, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. Once again, he's on 3 road teams and 1 home team there. I have the Seattle Seahawks on the road in Atlanta, the Rams on the road in Arizona to beat the Cardinals. I've got the Browns at home against the Titans and the Bills at home against the Bengals. That's 2-2 road teams versus home teams for me. Yeah. I'll just bring up Sky Bet, which is obviously where we do all of our damage in the betting world.
All our damage
go through our bankers. Bankers and outsiders. Well, I'm technically playing with house money at the moment because of my £40 win at the football on the weekend. So technically, that's just using my winnings from that. So this week's outsiders and bankers. Andy had the joy of the first selection this week. So he had the run of the 14 games, and with it, he chose the 2-9 Denver Broncos to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. That was his banker. His outsider was the 7-2 New Orleans Saints to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My banker was the 1-2 Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Houston Texans. And my outsider is the 5-2 Pittsburgh Steelers to beat the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh.
Now, that little fourfold accumulator, if it comes in, pays out at 27.88 to 1. So we'll return £28.88 into our coffers to allow us the joy and satisfaction of reinvesting 28 or 29 quid into week 15's bankers and outsiders. Watch this space, ladies and gentlemen, if that particular result comes in. So there you have it. That is week 14 predicted, side betted, and bankered and outsided, which just leaves me to pass you back over to the head honcho himself to finish us up for the week. To you, Mr. Cook.
Well, there we go. We have, as Paul just saying there, we have dealt with week 13. Unlucky for some, certainly was unlucky for me. But week 14 feels lucky. I feel that bet. This bet could be the week. Just bring it in under the wire. If you are enjoying the fantasy season, just bear in mind last week of fantasy football regular, moving into playoff fantasy football. So get your games sorted. Do your dirty under the table dealings with friends and family members to get that one player you need to finish last in your fantasy team. There will be week 14 preview coming next week. So yeah, if, as it's been mentioned a few times, if you enjoy other shaped balls going on different field/pitches, we do offer a football podcast. Paul, Matt, and Stu get together, talk the games. Hull, Middlesbrough, and Nottingham Forest, and everything else football related. If you think, nah, it's not for me, I don't like ball-shaped things. I like large men in a square circle. Wrestling, that's for you. Get over to the wrestling, the getting over. See what I did? Get over to the Getting Over podcast. I tell you. Stu takes us through the WWE Premium Live event. I have to remember that every time. Each few weeks, we just had one, and it just went by. Check out what we thought was happening in that delightful little ditty. We've got Formula One. Straight to the Apex boys bring you Formula One week in, week out, when there are races, obviously. And that season is very much drawing to a close, but I believe I am reliably informed by the fact that I listen to the podcast every week that the end of the season has been heating up. So find out what the guys think is going to finally happen at the end of the season there. And if at this point in time you do not want to put a gun in your mouth from listening to my voice a little too much, you can listen to what I think about all sorts of interesting things. Nah, I'm just kidding. You can listen to me talk about computer games, movies, TV shows, and something that probably happened in the week it was recorded. Check out the Darkest Timeline over there. If you think none of that sounds appealing to me at all, I'm just here for the NFL, well, you might want to know when we do another one. So what you should do, there'll be buttons like here, here, and here, here, and here, here, and here. One, if you're on YouTube, will be flashing right about now. Subscribe, because that's what it does if you say the word, I believe. So click the subscribe button. You'll get notification that we've released new episodes, and you could just basically say, I just want the NFL ones, please. Yeah, join us. It's a family. We are a crew. The kind of crew that would feature in a Fast and the Furious movie, but nevertheless, we are a crew here at the CookieCast Crew. Here at Cookie Cast Hours, we are going to say bye-bye. We're going to say thank you for joining us. Thanks for listening to week 13 and look forward to week 14. You don't get a big Thanksgiving meal this week. It's just beer and pretzels for you, I'm afraid. But not too far away until the biggest meal of the year. That's right. Playoff football. That's a big meal. No. Right. I'm going to let you go. So it's bye from me. And it's bye from him. And we will see you next time. Tatty buys for now.
So there you go. What do you think of that? Another week gone, another podcast gone. Whew, where do they all go? Where does the time go? That's what I want to know. Where does it all go? Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here, being a part of this. If you want to be a bigger part, you can click buttons. It's a great pastime, clicking buttons. Click the like, share, subscribe, comment buttons. Check out our website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. Drop us a line, tell us who your favourite team is, tell us who you've got winning the Super Bowl, tell us, I don't know, what's your favourite colour? Anything. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
How awesome is that? So awesome. You gotta like, share and subscribe.